Live, covering all of Southeast Michigan. CBS News Detroit at 7 starts now.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us for a special edition of CBS News Detroit at 7. I'm your man, Ronnie Duncan. Tonight we're going to be talking about the American Basketball Hall of Fame as they get ready to announce its 2022 and 2023 Hall of Fame classes tomorrow in Detroit. And if you don't know about the American Basketball Hall of Fame, you better ask somebody. They honor basketball players, men and women from all walks of the game, from the high school hardwood to the hood. I'm talking the legends, overseas, and players. That's the hall just doesn't honor college basketball players and NBA players, and it all dates back to 2019. Yeah, they hosted their inaugural class. Man, you talk about a name. How about George Blaha, the former Detroit Piston, John Long, Benny Johnson. Then you got Maryland legend Howard White and the Fab Five, members of the local Detroiters, and of course, my man, Mr. Jalen Rose. Now, joining us now to talk more about it and why it is the American Basketball Hall of Fame. He's a former Harlem Globetrotter. You can see he is a sharp dresser. He's Lamont Showboat Robinson. Man, you can't wait till tomorrow. You had to sort of get the basket out and let a few eggs hatch, right?
A few eggs hatch, just a few.
Man, how fun is this when you talk about putting this together each and every year and not forgetting those who sometime the Hall of Fame has forgotten? I'm going to tell you something about this cat here. He has been nominated more times for the Naismith Hall of Fame than anybody. It's a world record. He's in the Guinness Book. But you said to yourself, they may not put me in, but I can find a hall that can put people like me in and others. Tell me why and why you came up with this.
Of course, basketball has just grown leaps and bounds over the last 5 years. And, everybody's not going to get into Naismith.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create something that could kind of offset it to where you would have another chance to shine at the highest light. Men and women, and you got guys that were just great street ball players, or playground legends, we call them, and guys that were junior college All-Americans or NAIA All-American or HBCU.
Absolutely.
And these guys are just legends where they come from, and I just felt compelling to have something for them. And those also in the NBA as well.
And it is a global sport. A lot of times when people think about the great Akeem the Dream Olajuwon, they talk about Dikembe Mutombo. You and I know that there are other players in the continent of Africa we have never heard about here in the United States who are just as good but never got that shot. One thing you and I talk about, and we can agree, everybody in the league can play. Everybody in the league doesn't get the minutes. Explain.
Well, it's just like you said, it's just impossible for everybody to get the minutes. You got guys like Antoine Joubert, who was Mr. Basketball here in Detroit, one of the Michigan. He opened the door for the Michigan Fab Five. Had a great career over in Europe. Guys like him we're looking at. You got tweeners in the NBA. Can he go into Naismith? Can he not? And the Lord blessed us to be able to have the American Basketball Hall of Fame.
Let's talk about the American Basketball Hall of Fame and what we can expect tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and tell us where it's going to happen and what's going to happen, who's going to be there. I mean, I understand you got a cookie monster coming all the way. Used to be Miss Basketball in the state of Indiana, became the all-time leading women's scorer in basketball, of course, at Cincinnati, the one and only Cheryl Cook.
Cheryl Cook, who, numbers speak for herself. That's where the great Oscar Robinson played.
That's right.
And she went there, and just a phenomenal player. She's going to join us tomorrow. We got some other sneak surprises. But, one of the things is that the coach from Oakland, he doesn't get the credit. He is the most winningest active coach in the country, and that's Coach Campy.
Coach Campy is going to be inducted into
Yes, sir. I'll let that one out the back. I'll let that one out the back.
But that's okay.
Also, we got another guy by the name of Mr. Piston. Isaiah Thomas is going to be inducted.
Look at that name of individuals that you got there, 2023. Go down the list of the individuals that we see there. You don't have to talk with the last person at the bottom, but if you look at the individuals that you have there, man, you have a list. Grandmama is on your list, Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. Also, we just talked about Miss Cook. Bobby Grun. He started a team that I played on called the Harlem Road King, which was the parallel to the Globetrotters back in the day. Also, we got Big Mike. Mike played with Hardaway at UTEP. We got Dana Joubert, who's related to Antoine Joubert, the judge. She's going to be inducted. We got Dennis Smith, Dennis Hobson, who was the third pick in the NBA draft.
Oh, yeah.
Went to Chicago. Yeah, went to Ohio State.
That's right.
All-time leading scorer. We got another guy that went to Inkster. His name is Alvin Bo Dukes, 5'7".
Oh, man, come on. Alvin Bo Dukes is one of them legends, baby.
Playground legend. And then you got your guy down there, Tom Izzo. What do you say about him? Tom Izzo is Mr. Basketball. He has a lot of respect around the country, just global. Coach Campion, then the one and only, somebody I've been knowing for 25 years that's always knocking it out the park, Mr. Ronnie Duncan.
Hey,
You're
thanks,
going
man.
in. You're going in, Ronnie. I appreciate
it. You do something that's special that sometimes touches the hearts of people that have been forgotten. You played for the Globetrotters. You can talk Geese, you can talk Goose, you can talk Lou Dunbar.
Meadowlark Lemon.
And Meadowlark Lemon. You played with all of those guys, man.
I lived with Meadowlark for about 8 years. He taught me the art form of comedy basketball. I played 28 years. I traveled to over 100 countries. I played.
You only speak one language.
Well,
but you know what the language is?
What's that?
Basketball, baby.
Played in the 3,500 games, and I'm just so proud to be able to store this on others, man. This is our 5th class. We were down right after 2019 because of the pandemic, and what we did was we decided to do virtual. We did 2 virtual classes, posthumous. Wilt Chamberlain, some other greats. You go to our website and check it out. But I'm just so happy that this is coming, and people like yourself.
Look at that, man. Back in the day, looking like Dirk Gable.
That was back in the day, yeah. We was in Kentucky that night. Never forget that, yeah.
You know what, when I talk about you and number 31, 531, of course, is my mother's address there in Baltimore. So your 31 is always going to be on me, and 31 is the number I always play with a 5 in front of it when I do play the number. Why was 31 your number?
Well, there was a guy by the name of Doc Rivers.
Oh, boy, there
Doc
you go.
Rivers wore 31, and I thought he was a great player. We both came out in 1980, and I was wearing 32 because my hero was Dr. J.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'll tell you what. Doc Rivers is wearing 31 at Marquette. I'm going to wear 31, so.
What do you want to do with this when we speak of the American Basketball Hall of Fame? What are your big goals and visions?
Ronnie, what I'd like to do is build a state-of-the-art facility.
Okay.
It would bring jobs here to the city of Detroit, Metro Detroit. I'd like to have a youth center on there where we can have basketball tournaments, camps, clinics. AAU has just grown leaps and bounds throughout the country. I'd like to have that and just a showcase. And, we got the women in here. We're not excluding the women. We're not excluding the women. And, Detroit is the place. I know we talk about Harlem, we talk about the Rucker, but at one time, in the 90s, there were 40 ball players playing in the NBA in Metro Detroit.
Wow.
Nobody talks about that, So this is still a hotbed for basketball, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
You love the game. The game is loving you back, man.
I love it.
And we just thank you for everything. We're going to talk about an inaugural class. We got some other guys. This guy brought a bunch of goodies, and they're going to be coming here with us. So after the break, we're going to be joined by another member of the inaugural class. So stay with us. You don't want to miss a good shot because this man can shoot. I'll be back.
Great.
I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. We do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you. that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to press it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, we're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready, because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County. Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia.
Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn.
CBS News Detroit.
It is such a great honor to be inducted into the American Basketball Hall of Fame, June in Detroit, alongside Isaiah Thomas and Dick Vitale. Really, I'm alongside Isaiah Thomas and Dick Vitale. Guys, it's such a great honor, man. And to be inducted into the American Basketball Hall of Fame, trust me, whenever you can be inducted into Hall of Fames alongside some of the greats, like Dick Vitale and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah, Zeke, which is an idol of mine, it's such a great honor. And listen, I can't believe this is happening, but I will be there. Detroit, let's go. Larry Johnson, see you guys in June. Thank you so much.
You just heard from, of course, 2023 American Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, Grandmama Larry Johnson. Joining us is another member back in 2019. Man, a little thinner back then.
Yeah, a lot thinner.
My man, Antoine Jobert, formerly of Michigan fame. But man, when you know when I remembered you, right?
Yeah.
That parade All-American team.
Parade All-American.
You know, when you talk about McDonald's All-American, boy, you must have came onto that campus at Michigan going, I'm a bad man.
Oh man, I came on that campus, man, wanting to win and learn, and it got better over the years.
You know, you were one of those point guards that could do it all. And we haven't seen that. You and I remember the point guards. It's like we remember point guards that can get 6-7 rebounds a game. Walt Clyde Frazier.
That's right.
Jerry West.
That's right.
You was one of them kind of guards.
Oh, yeah.
That you was getting buckets, but you also, what we couldn't do is foul this brother, because he would get to the foul line and make some things happen.
200 pounds then. I mean, it's a big guy.
Yeah, I was 6'5", 200 pounds, so that was my advantage.
Tell us what you're doing now, because I already know, but tell us what you're doing now, because you're molding young men to be great basketball players, and you're doing it right here.
Yes, sir. I've been coaching at Oakland Community College for 14 years and teaching school and molding young men from the community, from Detroit and our local suburbs, and working with our youth, little AAU, Judges Court.
Tell me where you're about to take the 17 and under. Come on now.
I'm about to go to LeBron James in Cleveland tomorrow.
And do what?
And we're going to win.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. He's about to go up in Akron and do something. Tell me what this man over here means to you when I speak of what he's done with the American Basketball Hall of Fame.
You know, Lamont is like a brother to me. And our first year of having inductees, like 2019, he was trying to figure it out, and he had such a great class. He had Derek Coleman, Perry Watson, John Long. He had Sam Jones, the great Sam Jones. You know, the Boston Celtics.
And he gave him his flowers before he could no longer smell them.
That's right.
Jalen
Rose.
You know, I mean, what is so good about Detroit high school basketball and basketball when you talk Michigan, Michigan State, you talk Eastern Michigan, I mean, it doesn't, Western Michigan,
Western, Central.
That's what I'm saying, everybody can move.
UND,
Oh yeah, UND Mercy. Come on, we're going to be talking to Earl Carrington a little later.
And our great Antoine Davis that's getting inducted in the 2023 class this year.
So what is it? What is it, man? They talk about the water in Michigan, but come on, man, the lakes.
The water is strong.
All I got to do is just tell you this. I may be from Baltimore. One thing I do know, the lakes be getting buckets, baby.
Bucket. and also, like he said, in the early 90s, from 90 to about 2005, we had 40 guys in the NBA.
In the league.
In
Miami
the
Heat.
NBA, that's right.
Yeah, Miami Heat had like 4 starting at that time.
Yes,
Wow.
both Sean Leonard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sean Leonard, you talk about a player.
Player, and he won the NBA.
But this is also what it's also about what Lamont has done. If you thought that you were forgotten,
right?
Lamont knows you. I've talked to Lamont about my cousin, and he goes, "Wait a minute, you related to Albert McQuaid, who played in the same backcourt in North Carolina A&T as the great Al?" And I said, "Yeah." And he knows, or he knows about a guy that you and I both know about. He was ahead of you. But you heard of Skip Wise.
Yes, I
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
How do you get all that basketball knowledge when you know about a guy like this? Put it with Antoine Joubert could have played in Walla Walla, Washington. You would have known about him. How is it?
Well, the thing about it, I'm in tune to. I love the game.
Yeah.
I love the game of basketball. I hope I gave back what it gave to me. And I just want to just continue to keep giving. Like Pee Wee Kirkland, Rucker playground legend, one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball.
And went to Norfolk State.
Went to Norfolk State. People don't know that. Was drafted by the Chicago Bulls in '68.
That's right.
We got Terry Mills, who was Mr. Basketball.
Mr. Basketball.
We got Grant Long, and it's just an Earl Cureton course,
That's right.
You get the call. They tell you that you're in the American Basketball Hall of Fame. It's one thing to know Lamont Showboat Robinson.
Right.
But even when he told me a couple of minutes ago, I almost teared up, man. I've been doing this for 40-some years, 42 years.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And nobody pulled my chain for a Hall of Fame until this guy did. How did it feel for you?
Man, I tell you, that was one of the biggest honor, if not the biggest honor I've ever had. All the work and the effort that you put in to be a success, it pays off in the end.
I tell you.
And his mother was so happy.
Yeah.
Miss Joubert was so happy, man.
I'm sure his son was happy too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
my
she was
son
happy.
and my mom. My mom is 85. God bless her. I love you, Mom.
There you go.
And she was there with Lamont, and she was so happy.
Oh, yeah.
Hugging
Jalen's
him.
mom was there. It's the last time she
Jalen's
was out
mom was
publicly.
there, Miss Rose.
That was the last time she was out publicly.
That's right.
That's
my
right.
girl.
Yeah, she was out.
You have an important woman in your life. Her father, one of the greatest tenor, second tenor, baritone leaders of the Temptations.
Bass.
Could sing it all.
Everything. Yeah.
But you know as well as I know, having someone to support your dream. There's one thing about your mom, but there's one thing about having a good woman.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
my
want to put
wife,
you on the
yeah.
spot.
Yeah, my wife is Cheryl Ruffin Robinson. She is the oldest daughter of David Ruffin of the Temptations. And it's so funny that my parents used to take me to see them at a place called Leo's Casino.
Leo's in Cleveland.
When they had matinees, I'm telling my age.
No, Don King back there doing deals.
Yeah, I fell in love with Chip. Didn't know 40 years later I would marry my hero's daughter. So it works out. She's the vice president of the American Basketball Hall of Fame. We also do the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame that we're working on here in Detroit. So, man, this is just a hub for sports, music, and I'm just so happy. And, when I talk to Dick Vitale, he said, you may not know this, but I used to coach a team called UAD. That's how I know. He said I had some of the greatest players, some of the greatest times, and he also coached the Pistons.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
right.
Yeah, people don't realize that. They just think he was just ESPN.
He wasn't like Don. Casey got moved up. Dick just got fired.
It went to ESPN.
Hey, man, look, we got much more to talk about, much more to do. Hey, look, man, don't you go nowhere because we got a lot of things to talk about.
My man Terrence Wheeler, we got to talk about him. Terrence Wheeler.
We ain't done.
Oh,
yeah.
We got to talk about boy Terrence
This is the
Wheeler.
Lamont Showboat Robinson show.
Oh,
Did you know that? We're going to have Lamont and Antoine a little bit later. But first, we got time out. 3, 2, 1. I'm far from done.
All right.
All right.
Wow, it comes natural to you, don't it?
I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you, that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, we're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready, because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County. Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia.
Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn.
CBS News Detroit.
We're back at CBS News Detroit at 7. I'm Ronnie Duncan, and we are talking about the American Basketball Hall of Fame. And joining us, let's start at the end, because you came in, but he's also so clean. My man, Stanley Ruffin. How you doing, Stanley?
I am doing great. Glad to be here, man, and I'm excited to be around you, my brother.
Hey,
Welcome
man,
to Detroit.
Hey, man, we're trying to do this thing right. I love that sweet cut. I'm going to have to see your barber. But anyway, let me ask you this, man. What does the American Basketball Hall of Fame mean to you, and especially the man sitting next to you right now on your right-hand side?
Well, I would say that the American Basketball Hall of Fame, it gives you an opportunity to look back and remember all the people that played a part in your life to get you where you are. And I think what has happened with Lamont coming up with this American Basketball Hall of Fame is that it gives a lot of individuals who were somewhat unsung the opportunity to receive some accolades that are long overdue. And so I just appreciate the fact that he's involved people at all levels, high school, collegiate, as well as pro, and he's just included everybody. And so whether you excelled at the high school level or the collegiate level, you were Hall of Fame material.
One guy we know who is a Hall of Fame material, and guys, we know basketball when we see it.
Right.
Some might say he never saw a shot he didn't like. Some might say with 29 points a game. Some might say 3 points, he did it. Free throw average, he did it. He did it in 5 years. And I'm talking about Antoine Davis of Detroit Mercy. Let's take a look at some videotape of this young man and what he can do. We know what the great Pete Maravich did in 3 years with his father, the press.
Right.
But let's talk about the one thing that we have in Antoine Davis, Mike Davis' son. Isn't it ironic that both coaches coach their sons to be all-time prolific scorers? Stanley?
Yeah, press Maravich. If you don't know anything about Pete Maravich, Google.
Yes, sir.
Because his father was the coach at LSU.
That's right.
And Pete Maravich was at LSU. He had the sloppy socks on, but his game was not sloppy.
The game was not sloppy at all. And neither is Antoine Davis' game. I mean, what he's been able to do. See, people look at him as 6'1".
Right, he's
incredible.
incredible.
If you can get buckets, you're a coach.
He's
if you
incredible.
can get buckets, you can get buckets, and
That's
you can
right.
get buckets.
On anybody.
I talked to Earl Curitan. Hopefully Earl will join us. You know what Earl said?
Yeah.
He's better than 60% of the people in the NBA when it comes to just shooting. What do you think of his ability when you see him on the court?
I think his ability is awesome. He can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot on the run, off of screens. I think he'll make it.
He's a 6'1" Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Yes.
Since they're talking about the body style.
Yes.
You know, the game is athletic today, up and down.
Up and down.
And he has it, and last I checked, you got to put the ball in the basket.
All the
and he
time.
does that quite well.
One thing we can look at.
Unlimited range. Not to
That's,
cut you
no,
off.
no, no, but that's it. Now,
Unlimited
when I talk to
range.
Earl or anybody else, they say that this cat, they said what he did at that three-point shooting competition where he won it this year.
Right.
They said he was disappointed because he only had 19. They said that boy can score 27, 25 anytime he does it. What else is special about him? Because let's face it, he's extremely bright. He's an honor roll student. He's going to play professional basketball on some level.
Here's the thing about him. He is what Antoine, he is what myself and Stanley talk about student athlete. He is a true student athlete. Academic All-American, basketball All-American. Can't get no better than that.
That's your college basketball men's player of the year. But then you go back to my hometown, Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, be more careful, Mr. Seth.
You know that's right. All right, but I'm in the D, baby. We do it right.
Okay.
They call me Ronnie D for a reason.
That's right.
Now it's going to be Ronnie Detroit. But anyway, we're talking Angela Reese, out of Baltimore, went to the University of Maryland, did the portal, goes to LSU, and puts it in your face.
Phenomenal ball player. What is he, 6'1"?
Yeah.
6'2"?
6'2".
Again, speaks for itself.
Why was she you all's choice? Stanley, why was she your choice?
Well, I believe that not only does she have game, she's a very classy young lady.
Yeah.
And not only that, she's doing a tremendous job marketing herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she just represents the new generation. And when you have skills of that magnitude, and you have a personality to go with it, you know, the sky's the limit as to how many people you can affect. It's not just basketball. She's doing things off the court that merits her the attention of the American Basketball Hall of Fame player, female player of the year.
Coach Jobert.
Yes.
NIL deals.
No, you got to ask him. This is not cutting you off. What about when he's come out? NIL deals.
Yeah. You was coming out.
I'll be
what kind of
real.
deal?
Let's just say it.
I can tell you now. I can tell you what this kid did. He went ahead and signed a deal with a company out of Detroit.
Absolutely.
And that deal potentially could pay him over $10 million because
yes.
it is a stock equity deal that on paper is $1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
But if that company does as well as planned,
it will.
This young man could be rich before he actually takes to the court. How has the game changed, man? I mean, come on. Warrensville High School, knowing what you know now, and especially a marketer. Come on now. What we do know is Showboat knows how to.
Would have been at the table. Me and my friend would have been at the table. We'd have been at the table. You know, I'm happy for kids like LeBron James' son, Bronny James.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
You know, what it does is it stops the agents from coming on the campus and messing up a kid's eligibility. Yeah. You don't have to do that anymore. You know, they should have did it when we were playing.
Yes.
But we opened the doors for them to do that. And I'm happy with it. I just hope that they can keep it under control to where it just really doesn't get out of hand. But I'm happy for them.
Good enough. I know this really good 5'7" player, West Bloomfield. We may have to get him in the Hall of Fame. His name is Brandon Rothenberg. But I'm only kidding. We're going to come right back to the show because they don't want the show to go downhill. I'm Ronnie Duncan, Antoine Jobert, my man Showboat Robinson, Stanley. We thank you all for being here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more basketball, and we're going to get it done. Oh, my goodness. If you can't be a good sport, don't play, baby.
I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
Many people throughout St. Clair Shores have been fighting to save this water tower.
If there's a miracle out there, get a hold of me.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Residents here on Stansbury say they are fed up with all this flooding that keeps happening.
We shouldn't have to live like this.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about.
Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life?
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you, that maybe we can get change and things done in your community.
She was born without a right arm, and then her legs didn't grow, I guess, the way that they should have.
But for 20-year-old Fortune High School alum Sumaya, she doesn't let that, or anything else for that matter, get in her way.
So you have a favorite button over there?
Yeah, you want to press it?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and...
This is my favorite.
I hope everyone watching that piece in particular says, I want to help that little girl and help that family and help get her to college.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
You can get news anywhere, but for us, we're a fresh face with a new perspective, and we're trying to make a difference in the community to tell stories that matter to you.
I think we're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready, because here we come.
Reporting in Dearborn Heights.
Live in Wayne County.
Reporting in Adrian.
Live in Livonia. Reporting from South Lyon, Kelly Vaughn.
CBS News Detroit.
Welcome back. We're joined once again by the CEO, the founder of the American Basketball Hall of Fame. He is Lamont Showboat Robinson. Of course, to my right, Antoine Jobert of Great Time, the judge, you might as well say, the Great Time player for Michigan, and of course now the current coach at Oakland Community College. And then there's my man, Stanley Ruffin. What about tomorrow, Stanley? How important is it going to be for all of us to be there for the press conference, which, by the way, is at 10 o'clock, and Stanley can tell you more about it. Stanley?
Well, I harken back to the OJs when they said family reunion.
There you go.
It's so nice to be around family. And being the one of the first inductees into the inaugural 2019.
That's right, Stanley was in the inaugural.
That's right.
It's an honor for us to all get together and come back and see Antoine. And Antoine and I go way back.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Before that, right.
And so to be honored in this way and then have an opportunity to honor others.
Lamont, tell us where it's going to be, what time, and to what time, and why we need to be there, because it is the announcing of the 2022 and the 2023 class.
Absolutely. We're going to be announcing the class 2022-2023. Free to the public. We got some of the inductees coming in. Got some of the past inductees coming in. It's at 10 o'clock tomorrow. 10 o'clock tomorrow, so you guys not doing anything. But you got to come to get inducted.
I'm getting inducted, and I also got to be the MC for the event. When you were putting this together with your board, were there names that were left out that you might have considered for this year?
Yeah, there were a lot of names, yeah. They were like, because I mean, of course, like Naismith, they can't induct everybody. You know, I would love to induct everybody, but you just can't do that. And the thing about it is we got a group of people, and we really looked at it, and we wanted to really, really, really give people their flowers. And it's just been really working out. I call, and the people are just so excited about being inducted. But tomorrow we're going to go at 10 o'clock. It's going to be at the Bridge Center Library at 9928 Grand River. Again, that's Bridge Center Library, 9928 Grand River. It's going to be at 10 o'clock, and we're going to be announcing the full class to the world. That's right. Isaiah Thomas is excited. He is so excited. Pee Wee Kirkland, Dick Vitale. You know, they said, you know, there's more room for another Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of people, I want people to get this misconstrued. This is not a Michigan Hall of Fame. It's just going to be in Detroit, Michigan, but it's international and national. And like, again, we open it up to the women as well, not just the men, because you got some women that can really play. If you looked at the tournament this year, it speaks for itself.
You all are basketball players. As a matter of fact, I think we got a starting four right now. All we need is one more. We got a starting five.
That's right.
And I think, you know, with your handle, Stanley's game, well, Stanley ain't playing no defense.
Nah, he gonna score, though.
He gonna score. I think we're gonna be okay. Let me ask you guys about the current play in the game that everyone aspires to go to, and that's the NBA. What do you think about this current system, this play-in, and what do you think about the teams that are in? It's going to be interesting. I'm going to start with you. Okay. You're the coach out there. You get a chance to see people. How do you like what you see in this current season of the NBA?
I like it. I think it's very competitive. I like to play in. It gives the other teams that's on the edge a chance to get in. And there were some good games yesterday.
How about the mere fact that the Atlanta Hawks did a number on Miami? If there's ever a team that's ready, Stanley, it's Miami each and every season as far as conditioning is concerned. Pat don't play with that. Even though Pat's in the front office, and of course you got your coach out there, it doesn't matter. Miami comes to play. The only person who was ready was Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You see,
he's the only player that was
known
ready.
as a team.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler did not play well last evening.
He sure didn't.
But let me just say this, the Atlanta Hawks played very well.
Yes, it
And
is.
so even though what's it called, Ice Tray?
Ice Tray, Trae Young, 25 points.
He came to play. And whenever he plays on that level, people forget he's a superstar.
But how about the addition of Detroit? Because Sadiq Bey was there, baby, and he had some big numbers.
And I'm happy for Sadiq Bey. You're talking about going from hell to heaven.
Right.
and really, no knock against the Pistons because they're up and coming.
Yeah.
But now he has an opportunity to showcase his talent. And Sadiq Bey, remember, he scored 50 points in a game.
Look, Sunday, we over Lamont's house. What game we watching? We watched the Lakers against Utah.
Yeah.
We want to see what the Lakers are going to do. Are they that scary right now? See, I think the key is going to be Russell. If Russell plays...
Any given night.
Uh-oh.
They're on them any given night type teams, you know. Last night, what's the guy, the guard? He shot one from the corner.
Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Schroeder.
I tell you what, one of the best big men, if he stay healthy, is
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
You know what I say?
Sure.
You know what I say? Anthony Davis get on the
For
court.
sure.
Yeah, he can do a lot.
London Bridge is falling down. Timber! That man falls. I mean, I feel like he's going to break something every time he falls. I've never seen somebody just fall out of the sky, and it's like every part of the 6'11" is there for you to see, man.
Yeah, well, LeBron calls him street clothes. Because he's always in the street clothes on the bench. But here's the thing about Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is a top 10 player.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
Absolutely.
LeBron James is still a top 10 player with a mental aptitude.
So when people are talking, the mere fact that there's a possibility that if everything moves in the right situation, the hot team, Coach.
Yes.
Could the Lakers win this whole thing?
Absolutely.
You see him last night? Yeah,
of course.
Last night.
It's like in boxing. It's a game of matchups.
Yeah.
Some teams match up better with other teams.
Right.
The Lakers match up with everybody with these new additional pieces that they have. In the last 30 to 60 days.
Sound like D'Angelo Russell. I think he's the key. I think Beasley is the key because one thing LeBron has to do, I mean, we all know the game.
Right.
LeBron likes to find people like you. He likes to find people like you because he's looking for somebody on that perimeter to pass to. You can go back to that last play.
Yeah.
And soon as he saw where Dennis was, he was like, not only you getting this ball, but you're going to have plenty of time to look at it, and boom, there it is. Yeah. Because they'll tell you right now, boom, boom, shook the room. That's, of course, Bob Leonard, Indiana Pacers, Mr. Call, Indiana, Mr. Boom, boom, baby, boom, boom. But I can tell you this, LeBron found the right person to pass the ball to.
He always does.
Well, you know, LeBron is just an exceptional basketball player, facilitator.
Yes, that's right.
At 6'9".
He's like Magic Johnson.
He's like a Magic Johnson.
That's
and
right.
like yourself, can facilitate the ball. And he can see. He knows everybody's position and where they're supposed to be at. Even the opposition team, he knows it.
We got an individual, and I'm not too sure, and Brandon, who's our producer, can tell me, and I want to run some videotape because, of course, he went to Indiana back in the 1970s. He's my contemporary. I speak of Isaiah Thomas. Yes. What we're forgetting is the great genius mind that he has. Remember what he did with Indiana. Remember what he's done with the New York Knicks. This is a brilliant man. You see him there with Bob Knight, the historic coach of Indiana Hoosiers. And, you know, I mean, you can go back. A lot of people say who you need to play for. Bob Knight will tell you right now, he doesn't win anything without Isaiah. You know, he had Woodson. He had, what's the cat who used to coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers and also coached in the Atlanta Hawks, Randy Whitman. I mean, he had a lot of good players on that team. And then, of course, you know, I mean, he had Bruce's brother. I mean, those guys could play at that particular time. They win a national championship. People forget, who did they win that national championship from? Remember, it was Dean Smith and James Worthy and Phil Paul.
Scott May.
But
Scott May.
To me, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas is the greatest pure point guard. Magic Johnson was just a freak of nature, 6'9".
Yeah.
could do it all, see it. We never seen nothing like it. Guy had eyes in the back of his head. But when you talk about pure point guards,
yeah.
Well,
the one thing Zeke did is that, to me, he could play in any generation. And so he took the game of someone that you admired, loved, and knew, Marcus Haynes, Harlem Globetrotter, and took that to a whole new deal. We can talk about John Morant, we can talk about Allen Iverson's crossover, but Zeke was just that good. I mean, the thing about, you couldn't foul Zeke because you put him on the foul line, he made that shot. He made those two.
But Twan was in camp with him.
And the other thing,
he's the best, smallest player ever, man.
How difficult was he to guard just in practice?
Oh, man, he's difficult. He's tough. He dribbled the ball. He stretched. He dribbled the ball 20 minutes.
You know,
fingertipping the ball on stretching. That's how good he is.
Yeah. When
I've never seen anyone.
I'm going to talk not so much the best player you've ever seen. Okay, I want everybody to humble themselves at this table right now. You'll be last, so you get a chance to really think about it.
All right.
Who is the best player you went up against? Not the best player you think is the best player in the NBA, best player college, best player high school, best player on the playground. I want to know, who did you see and you basically said, daggone, I want to go for lunch break right now because if I got to deal with him, this is going to be hell. Who was it?
That's difficult because I kind of prided myself on defense. But let me just say, Terry Durod at Highland Park.
Durod. Oh, that's a name.
He used to come off of picks, man, and he elevated so high on his jump shot that he could get it off.
The best
and so
shooter.
he was difficult.
6'2" now.
He was difficult to deal with. But I find that players that are my size, I was 6'4", 6'5", but I weighed 160. I was a legitimate point guard. All I played was point guard. So it was very difficult for people to guard me. I didn't worry about other people, but if I had to pick somebody, I probably would say Terry Durod because of the elevation that he got on his shot.
That's great. What about you, Lamont?
Boy, I played against so many great ones.
Brad Sellers ain't it. It's live TV too.
Don't tell Dennis that.
Clark Kellogg at that time. He opened the door for all of us. 6'7", could handle the ball. Another guy by the name of Adam Dootsy Ballstick. Nobody knows anything about him. He's from a place called Jeanette, PA, where Terrell Pryor come out of. My dad's from there.
Yeah.
6'2", could just
It's
stroke.
amazing that people don't remember Clark Kellogg. They don't recognize that the Indiana Pacers had 2 Rookie of the Year back-to-back.
Oh, yeah.
It was Clark Kellogg, and who was the other one? Wayman Tisdale the following year.
Yeah.
Wayman Tisdale.
And then Clark Kellogg has the knee injury that takes him out of the game. They say that he was one of the finest pure basketball players that God had ever made. And if it hadn't been for his knee injury, because he was physical, he had finesse, and at 6'8", 6'9", he could dribble.
But I'm going to say this too, though. I got another pick. I never will forget this. I was picking my grandmother up in Jeanette, Pennsylvania from work. And I said, Grandma, let me run in here and get a book. All the girls was in the bookstore. I wonder why they, Antoine Jobert. They say he look like Prince. They say he look just like Prince. Look, so he came to Pittsburgh. He played with a guy named by the name of Pearl Washington.
Oh, yeah.
They played down at played at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And the girl said, look, he looked just like Prince. We're going. He might have sold 1,000 tickets that night.
Hey, I can tell you one thing about Antoine Jobert.
He was great, man.
He may knock me out. Him and Pearl Washington, they had that bottom, y'all. They had all this back here.
Yes, we
They go ahead and post people up.
That's what we did.
So now we come to you. Who is that one player that you looked at and you said, man, I got to give you mad respect, but it's mad headache?
And Derek Coleman, I got to throw Derek Coleman in there. Derek Coleman, one of the greatest I've ever seen.
Man, I think Derek going to fight you or something, man.
No, but Derek one of the greatest I've ever seen, man.
Nah, Derek was a great player. He was a man-child ahead of his time.
Yes, he was.
And I think that's the thing about it. And the other thing is that when you talk about the intestinal fortitude of a cerebral basketball game, a brilliant basketball player, an avant who could actually understand what the coach was going to say before the coach said it, that was DC. And see, he doesn't get that. And all you got to do, is ask anybody who's ever played with him. He was just that brilliant. Antoine, you ain't gonna get off that easy. Who was it?
Well, I
mean, you had plenty of time to think, man. Come on.
I play against so many great players,
but that one headache. Come on, you had nightmares about him today.
Well, the one best player that I ever played against is Magic.
There you go.
Magic Johnson. He's the best player. I played against Jordan. I played against Barkley. Magic is the best complete player I ever played against. He's 6'9". and he do everything I can do,
You can say-
except shoot. But you stay off of him, he gonna make it because he's a winner.
Or hit that hook.
Or he
We're going
gonna
to come
hit the
back. We're
hook
going to talk
shot.
more about the American Basketball Hall of Fame. The induction class is going to be announced tomorrow. I will be the MC. And we're also going to talk about Donald Casey and a young man by the name of Victor. The Pistons. Can they win? And if they get that 7'4" guy, somebody, it's Stanley over here, he's saying game over. Game over. We'll find out. We'll be back.
Oh.
I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about. Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit.
Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you.
Well, we are rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
Local news is all about letting people know what's happening in their community.
We're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready because here we come.
If you're a basketball fan and you love the game, then you have missed the last 50 minutes of sitting around talking about the American Basketball Hall of Fame induction class of 2022 and 2023. It all happens tomorrow. This is Lamont Showboat Robinson, my man Stanley Ruffin, of course, the great Antoine Jobert of Michigan fame. Gentlemen, we are in Detroit. We got to talk about the Pistons.
Yes, sir.
The season is over. Casey has been moved up to the front office. Your thoughts of bringing someone in, someone who can deal with a new team that may have the #1 overall pick, and that's Victor Wembanyama. Stanley, what do you think about what happened with Casey?
Well, I think Casey was given a bad deal to begin with. He did not have the team that he thought he was going to have in Toronto, and because his claim to fame is developing young players.
Okay.
And so he took the hit for developing young players, and he did. But now I think it's time for him to go upstairs and let a young, maybe Uma Madoka from Boston. I think he would be ideal for the Pistons because he knows how to relate to these younger players, and you can see what he did with Boston. He got the most out of Tatum and the other player that's right there underneath Tatum. But just I think he would be great in developing them and getting them into the playoffs.
That's, of course, the future. When we look back at the past, did you think we were going to get the same chemistry or same diagram that Dwayne was able to do in Toronto? He took that team to the Eastern Conference Finals a few times, and everyone knew that if it wasn't for LeBron James, Toronto would have been in that game.
Well, Detroit was hoping. That's why they brought him in. You know, he's definitely a great basketball mind, and we had high hopes for him. And I think they still have high hopes. That's the reason why he's going to the front office. But if they bring the kid in that was at Boston, I can't pronounce his name.
Uma Madoka?
I don't want to mess his name up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he could be a great fit for us because, one, he can relate to the youth. You know, they're a young team. And then if we get this 7'4" point guard.
What do you think of Victor, Antoine? I mean, you've been around this game for a lot of years. That's a freak of nature there, boy. 7'4", and got the skills that he has. And they said his upside is more than LeBron James.
Yes, not as scary. When this upside is more than LeBron and Magic and those type of guys.
That's saying a lot.
Jordan, that's saying a lot.
Saying
Kobe.
a lot now.
That's saying a lot.
You can't teach 7-4.
No, you can't, Stan. You can't
Look at him.
teach
That's him right there.
7-4.
And,
Look
well,
at that.
no, who do you have here?
And he plays like a guard. He plays like he's 6'1".
Yeah.
That's him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him there. So, I mean, I just love the kid. I love his passion for the game. I love his attitude, the way he approached the game. He's confident in himself. He shoots that ball deep for 7-4, like Kevin Durant.
Yes.
So can you imagine?
And he put the ball on the floor.
Exactly.
You know basketball, and we will go ahead and give you the last word before we move into our final subject. What do you most admire about him? If they don't get him, number one, if this is a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Neil Walk, if this is a Patrick Ewing or this is a Sam Bowie and Akeem Olajuwon kind of a deal, where the second guy ain't nowhere as good, or you can look at Darko Milicic, the second guy ain't no good. We can't afford not to win this. They're talking about the draft lottery. It's coming up real soon. If you don't get him, Wembanyama, who do you want?
We may have to go into the free agent market because we got to get some depth.
Yeah.
We got to get some leadership in there. Even if we do get the first pick, still got to get some leadership in there, a veteran in there, to be able to mold that talent together. So it's going to be important to get a coach too.
Right.
You got to get a coach too.
And also, we're looking at Chauncey Billups and Jerry Stackhouse. Their names is in the hat for the coaching job.
Chauncey would be excellent.
Yes.
You know, be a good
if we
assistant
can get him
coach.
from
Who's
Portland.
that? Lamar Shobo Robinson?
I could, but they have, you know,
And they
Earl
could pay
Kirchner
you.
would be great. Earl would be great. His high school coach would be great.
Yeah, Earl would be great because Earl has he's coached at every level.
I mean, Earl's been. I mean, he's won
coached girls and
championships
boys.
with Dr. J.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
And
he's been
Akeem
there.
Olajuwon.
We got less than 30 seconds. I want to thank you all for being with us. Don't forget, we got one more segment, but I want to make sure that we get it in about what we're doing tomorrow. So you want to know why these guys are here? It ain't about the Pistons. It ain't about anybody else. It's about the American Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's going to happen June 25th, but tomorrow they're going to announce everybody that's going in. And if you're left out, you're going to have to wait till next year. We'll talk more about that with this my guy, Lamar Shobo Robinson. Man, come
Your
on.
man over here, Earl.
Earl finally showed up.
Earl showed up.
We're going to take a time out. We're going to get Earl in the house and talk about him as well. We're going to talk about the American Basketball Association, much more. It is CBS News Detroit, news at 7. Come on back.
That was good.
I don't know if there's been a better time to start a brand new news operation.
The newsroom was pretty much starting from scratch.
It's fresh, it's innovative.
Lots of energy, lots of passionate reporters.
Knowing what we're starting here puts so much joy in my heart.
We have reporters who are embedded in these communities.
We are part of the neighborhood. Our newsroom is part of your neighborhood.
Telling the stories that otherwise nobody would know about. Now, AJ, you went to the downtown boxing gym and you really got to see how this gym is impacting kids' lives.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as I walked in the building, it was very uplifting.
It's a boxing gym, but it's more than boxing. You know, we do homework. We help them with the SAT.
When it comes to the weather, it's forecasting what's going to fall on your driveway, when is it going to happen, and how might it actually affect your day-to-day life.
Hundreds of people continue to call in reporting problems throughout the county.
Cleanup crews working all throughout Metro Detroit. Get them down and get them cleaned up.
Local news to me means we're in your community, we're telling stories that matter to you, that affect you.
Well, we're rethinking the way local news is done in the 21st century and how to tell the most important stories in a compelling way.
Local news is all about letting people know what's happening in their community.
We're here to listen and actually hear what you're saying, and we're putting together a newscast that will show that.
I want to tell those people's stories because it's needed. Detroit is ready. Get ready because here we come.
It's coming up tomorrow at the Britt Center Library at 9928 Grand River, Detroit, Michigan. It will be the 2022 2023 Hall of Fame class of the American Basketball Hall of Fame. And guess who just joined us? My man, Earl Carrington of the Detroit Pistons. Man, twirl, man, you get it.
Twirl.
You're in, man. How does it feel?
Great. You know, to have anytime a Hall of Fame inductee, I'm ecstatic about it and have an opportunity to be able to do that.
You and I go back and forth and we talk about those great NBA teams you played on. That first championship, Dr. J, 1983.
My hero,
we just had a reunion for that, which is kind of crazy now. We all came down. I got a chance to see Doc and all those guys, and it was great to go down there and see everybody again. But it's been way too long now. We told the guys we're passing the torch now. We can't come back anymore. So, you know, it's been 40 years. It's time for them to win a championship.
We're going to roll a videotape of what you do because you're an ambassador for the Detroit Pistons and you're everything that's classy and proud.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about the kids that you and I saw at the poetry and art competition and how great they were. You love this role, and you told me, you said, Ronnie, the key to this is the ownership. They're committed to it. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, you know, when Tom Gores came in, it was more than just basketball. When he decided to come and move downtown Detroit, he made it perfectly clear that he wanted to be involved and be impactful inside of the community. I didn't know exactly what that meant at the time, but I'm really happy about it because he's in the neighborhoods. You know, I grew up on the east side of Detroit, you know, in the Mack and Bewick area and the hard neighborhoods around here. And a lot of the things that we do are directly right inside of the neighborhoods. And the poetry thing that we did is great for the PSL. You know, we had a lot of, well, you saw that.
Yes,
a lot of the kids come down. The talent level is just off the chain.
Just off the chain.
And each year it gets better and better, you know, and Mahorn started that about 15 years ago, and it's been going strong.
All right, look, we have less than 1 minute to go, and I'm going to give you your flowers before you go. And I want everybody in for about 10 seconds. Tell me what this man means to you, because when he told me I was in the hall, I have to admit, I broke in tears. What about you, Earl?
Well, it's incredible because it's hard, you know, and you got to get people, he wanted to get people that were unnoticed, didn't have an opportunity to get in there to be recognized. And we got so much talent here in the city of Detroit. So many good people. You know, Antoine Jobert went in last year, which was great. We got a lot of great people going in. Yourself, I'm going in. You know, you got Derek Coleman, and a lot of time the Michigan Hall of Fame, they miss a lot of our great talent that's right here in the city.
We don't want to wrap everybody up. We will see everybody tomorrow. It is right here. Even got my face in the place, baby. It's going to be all about the American Basketball Hall of Fame. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.